The Creature of the Black Lagoon movie was one I saw way later in my life as an adult, whereas Dracula, Frankenstein, the Wolfman, and all of like those Abbott and Costello movies, those ones were in frequent rotation at my home growing up, so I have far more familiarity and nostalgia regarding those than I do the creature. I've talked quite a bit on this channel about my hobby goals for the year, one of which is to watch all of the original movies within the Universal Monsters universe. We're about halfway through the year, and honestly, I think I've been doing a really great job knocking off those original franchise films, and because I'm just such an extra over-the-top person, I've been getting through a lot of the sequels, like Frankenstein. I watched them all. I don't know how I did that. That was really fun. I love that. So I'm feeling a little bit ambitious this weekend. You know I love a good theme, so why not just pick this up and run with it? I do want to rewatch Creature and then get to those 2 sequels too, because I have a really awesome DVD set that includes them all, plus a bonus documentary. I also hope to finish one book this weekend, and I actually have it right here. It is called The Lady from the Black Lagoon by Mallory O'Meara. And if you've seen any of my recent Summerween videos, like my haul, you are very familiar with the cover of this book. The whole purpose of this book is to shine a light on the life and work of Millicent Patrick, who was really integral in designing the creature costume in the Creature of the Black Lagoon movie. I was really excited to read this book because I think she might be the only woman to have actually designed any of the creatures within the Universal Monsters movie franchise. I know up until the point where they were creating the Creature of the Black Lagoon movie, yeah, it says right here, no woman had ever designed a monster for a major motion picture before. Wow, so even more so than just the Universal Studios. That's so shocking to me. I also just have a lot of like Summerween hijinks and shenanigans. I want to finally get my first traditional Halloween code orange. For a few weeks now, people have been showing their Joanns lined up with tons of aisles with Halloween stuff. So I don't know. I've kind of just accepted that wherever I live in California is just one of the last people to stock up on Halloween stuff. So let's head out to Joann's and fingers crossed, we have a code orange for traditional Halloween. Okay, I feel so disheveled because I put everything away and unpackaged everything and cleaned things up, and I'm just like hot, and it's summer. All of that means I did finally have my first code orange of the season. I know. So exciting. All is right in the world, at least for now. I did pick up a few things, but I didn't go hog wild because it's always the case that I see things online, whether it's social media or a company's website, and I'm like, ooh, but then actually when I get in store and I have to consider buying these things, I actually take home far less than I actually think on the outset. So I only picked up 3 things that were considered Halloween, and then I picked up other 2 organizational items that were very much needed. It was unquestionable that I was gonna take home this mug. It says spooky all year round. Come on, fits the bill. I love the size of it and the shape. It's the perfect mug shape for me. It just gave me that like, you know, sparkly, tingly feeling where I know I really wanted it, I coveted it. The second thing I picked up, I wasn't the most confident about, but I just kind of had to suck it up because I think this is a super cute kitchen towel. The only thing that I was not so happy about is that there's only one of them, and I'm pretty sure you can get kitchen towels way cheaper at HomeGoods or Marshall's and get more. But I really loved the little cobwebs and the spiders, and it says Happy Halloween. And when I felt the material in store, it felt pretty, you know, decent in quality. So I just kind of had to suck it up. And I knew I wasn't really going to be purchasing all that many things, so it wasn't that big of a deal. I also wanted to get into beading as like a craft. I've been seeing a lot of really cool crafts online, whether it's like cell phone keychains, just regular keychains, making jewelry. I have an idea that I want to get into that soon. And I did see online on the website that they had these really cute glass candy corn beads. They came on strings. Originally, I was just going to get one, but I'm like, you know what? I need more. Like I could see myself doing projects with these, and candy corns are one of my top Halloween motifs. And you know, because I'm going to be becoming a beadist beatus. That's not what it is. A beater? Also terrible. Whatever. Because I'm gonna be crafting with beads soon, I thought that as I'm starting to accumulate them, I probably should get a little organizational, box for it. Joanns right now is having like tons of sales, whether it's their spring or summer decor. I was able to find this kind of like a Lazy Susan makeup organizer, like at least that's how I see it. You could put a lot of things inside of there and it kind of like props it up, it's clear, and then if you just like spin it, you have like a 360, access point to anything that's inside of there. We have so many little drinkware items, and as it's summertime, we are crafting up cocktails and mocktails far more than any other time of the year, and being able to have everything in one place is so nice. It's like out of sight, out of mind for me. I'm never gonna use things if it's not super easy and accessible for me just to grab. So getting one of these was such a game changer already, and I've had it for like 10 minutes. Okay, friends, I need your emotional support in using this amazing bath bomb for the very first time. It probably sounds a little strange that I want to soak my feet during the summer months, but it is one tried and true strategy that I've found really helps ground me, especially this week. I've been feeling very anxious thanks to my hormones. So being able to figure out ways to lessen that is always useful and, not always the most convenient. A mango papaya dream. Truly, I struggle so hard with burning candles that look amazing. But I'm working on that because that's like literally what you purchase is like the candle or the bath bomb, and I want to enjoy it. So yeah, let's break them apart. Let's whittle this down a little bit, and I'll enjoy the rest of my evening hanging out with pieces of creature. That sounds so strange. Okay, so wow. This is so tough. Okay, time to chop you up, little dude. I guess I'll just start off with one of the gills, or should I go like down here? Oh my God, okay. What am I doing? Okay, good, that feels better. Oh, kind of gave you a little boo-boo there. Maybe I'll go a little bit more. Oh, poor guy. I feel bad. Creature does not deserve this. Okay, but that's looking kind of nice. Maybe a little bit more. I'll just kind of go with what this top part right here. Poor guy, looking a little lopsided there, but thank you for your service. This movie is so much of its time, from the exotification of the non-white characters to that just typical science fiction B-movie female scientist character. Like, it's all here. This was not my first time watching Creature from the Black Lagoon. I can't actually remember the last time I did, so I feel like it's been some time. I know I have all those critiques, they're very valid. At the same time, I do really have so much love for this movie. I love all of the underwater shots, like they did such amazing work under there. The creature design, obviously. I love the repetition of those shots of the creature's hand coming out, and that's all we see, and then it's paired with like really ominous orchestra music. I know that can get a little hokey sometimes for people. Even I was like, okay, this is like, happening way too often, but it's so iconic, and I will give them a pass because it really does get you in the universe of this movie, this world where we actually could imagine a amphibious human running around. And also, I love the subtext regarding, environmental concerns, and, it's in the context of the Cold War in the 50s, so that's something that was not lost on me. The DVD set I have includes all 3 movies that were produced for Universal Studios on behalf of the whole Creature franchise, and they did include include a really awesome documentary that is hosted by the iconic horror movie historian David Skal, RIP. I believe he recently passed away. I was so happy to see that in that documentary, which I think it's maybe like 40 minutes, 30 minutes, they do talk about Millicent Patrick, albeit briefly, but this is something that like they kind of walk through a lot of topics very quickly, so it felt very proportional to the other things, really acknowledging that Bud Westmore, who was like the head of makeup, really was responsible for making sure that she did not get the credit she really deserved in playing such a significant role in creating the design of the creature. Like that was just so great. And I learned a lot of really cool things about the filming. So apparently everything for this movie was filmed in the Universal Studios backlot for anything that was above water. And then when they shot below water, they did that in Florida. I also thought it was really cool to learn that this movie actually was first released in 3D as kind of like this gimmick at the time that was used to get people in those theater seats, because TV really had been taking a lot of people's attention away from theatrical releases. So you got to get those butts in the theaters, right? I'm so curious to figure out what I'm going to think about the two sequels for this movie. I know that it can go either way. I've seen all the Universal Monster Frankenstein movies, and I found many reasons to love the movies in those franchises. Sometimes it was like, it's a really damn good movie. Other cases, I really enjoyed the camp and just the unique ways of approaching a story that we know so well at that point in the franchise. So I'm curious, will they just kind of repeat things over and over again and just kind of have the same story multiple times, maybe swap out the location? Like that could get a little redundant. It's just so hard when one of the first movies in this franchise is just so iconic and then none of the other sequels really get talked about, like with Creature. I'll figure it out on behalf of all Creature fans everywhere if it's actually worth watching the other two movies. So I will let you know. There was a brief Tiki drink and dinner intermission in between the two sequels that I watched. I cannot tell you how fun it is that my fiance Thomas and I have embraced the Tiki drink life, actually trying and attempting to make them at home, which it's so difficult. Like just trying to make cocktails in general is a tough task, but Tiki culture specifically requires tons of alcohols, very specific like liqueurs and other things to add in. Tonight I made a painkiller, which is so delicious. I really appreciate that it is a balance of being like fruity with the orange juice, but there is that nuttiness, I have nutmeg in there, and the rums, there's two of them. They're so delicious together, like such a great combo. Of course, I needed this Creature from the Black Lagoon mug. I'm so obsessed with it. I got it from Geeky Tiki's. He's just the cutest. He brings me so much joy, and this is actually the first time I made anything with this mug. Now that I got a drink in me, I can share with you my final thoughts on these Creature of the Black Lagoon sequels, and boy, do I have thoughts. I really want to love these movies. Ultimately, I don't feel like the sequels hit in the ways that the original did, but I want to love them so badly. So let me know like what you loved about them. If you really did, my heart is open and willing to embracing them. I just feel like, they didn't match my expectations. If I'm being honest, if the sequels weren't attached to the franchise of The Creature of the Black Lagoon, I don't think I would have finished them. They just feel so forgettable. I've seen other science fiction B movies where I was captivated from the very beginning. I just felt like they didn't know what to do with the creature. They were just trying to use him in order to, flip a buck for the studio. And that's really sad because the original is freaking awesome. But it's probably just one of those things where like it only really can be done well in such a magical, captivating way with the first watch. Like maybe there's just not much to be done with the creature. It makes me appreciate Guillermo del Toro's like spiritual sequel to this franchise with The Shape of Water, which I saw for the very first time this past February. I could see him doing a really good job in making a sequel that does justice for the Gill man, like really having his perspective front and center and giving him that happily ever after was such a sweet part of that movie. Although that wasn't 100% successful, I did have a whole lot of fun knocking those movies off of my watch list. I'm gonna hang out with the Gill man here, finish my drink, and get to some reading. am so incredibly in love with this book. The author, Mallory O'Meara, also has a podcast called Reading Glasses. Definitely going to give it a re-listen because I love her personality. She comes off so approachable, so real. She's also a part of the movie making business as a producer for horror films. So she provides a lot of her story into this book as well, and she takes us on the journey with her, which is a very harrowing experience for somebody to take on because it wasn't a very easy thing to have to research and find all these things. And those are actually my favorite kind of nonfiction books, the ones that really make it transparent, that whole research process. And I know it's probably not the norm to bring in the author and kind of insert themselves into these stories. But honestly, those are my favorite kind of history books. It makes it so real, so human. The author ends up feeling like your travel bestie as they're going to all these places, learning all these things, processing it alongside you. It's truly just so engaging for me. I won't go into everything that this book talks about because I definitely feel like you should read it for yourself. But some things that stick out to me is her childhood. She grew up on the grounds of Hearst Castle because her father was actually the structural engineer alongside Julia Morgan. I've been to Hearst Castle. That's really damn cool. On top of being an artist, she went to school for that. She also was really interested in Hollywood. She was an actress and she played just kind of little bit parts, not too many speaking roles, but she rubbed shoulders with some pretty famous people in the 1940s and 50s and into the 60s in Hollywood. And obviously the coolest thing to me is the fact that she was also one of the few women who worked for Disney Studios in the 1940s. She contributed to movies like Fantasia and Dumbo. And then when she worked at Universal Studios, she was actually the first woman to be a special effects designer. I think she gets the most kind of, credit for creating the design of the Gillman, the creature, in The Creature from the Black Lagoon. But she didn't just work on that movie. There was several other movies at Universal that she did work on. She contributed to the design of those little aliens in the movie It Came from Outer Space, which I have not seen, but it is on Tubi. And it's so frustrating seeing exactly how her career was crushed before I really feel like it reached its climax. I want to read more books like this that really walk us through the trials and tribulations, the highs and lows of women and people who are so marginalized and their stories don't get told, and yet there are parts of them that live on in art and politics in the world. We don't know, but they're so influential. Those are the stories that I want to prioritize, that I want to read. If you love Hollywood history, if you're really interested in Universal monsters, it is no question you should definitely read this book. If you have a Kindle Unlimited subscription, currently, as I'm filming this, it is listed on there as a part of the KU catalog. I think we should know by this point, I'm completely obsessed with the creature. He might be winning my #1 spot as my favorite Universal monster creature. I'm so sorry, Frankenstein, but this weekend just made me totally obsessed with him and obsessed with Millicent Patrick. Let me know, are you a creature fan? Do you have another Universal monster that is your #1 favorite? Let me know down below. Thank you so much for being here. I'll see you on my next video. Bye.